What's poppin', everybody? This is Saber054. We're gonna be looking at my Koraidon Great Tusk EX deck today, appropriately named Great Ass Kicking EX, because if things go right, you should be able to give a great ass kicking to your opponent. So there isn't really any deep combo with this deck. It's just taking advantage of this Koraidon EX from Scarlet and Violet. Its ability, Dino Cry, allows you to attach two basic fighting energies from your discard pile to one of your basic fighting Pokemon, and if you do this, your turn ends. So what this means is that if we can do this turn 1, we gain a big advantage since we wouldn't be able to attack anyway. You grab a bunch of energies, and it also means we have an additional reason to put fighting energies in the discard pile, taking advantage of a lot of good cards, especially with the lack of supporters these days. It's a decent Pokemon as well in terms of its stats and attack. Wild Impact going to do 220 for 3. That's almost as much as Zacian with the same effect. Needs 2 fighting and 1 colorless as opposed to Zacian that needed 3 metal energies, Zacian V. But I mean, we're only going to use fighting energies anyway. But max out this Pokemon. Definitely want to see it, and you definitely want to go first with this deck. If you can't get the combo, you know, even grab at least 1 fighting energy with his attack, with his ability, then it is going to be a bit unfortunate, as you don't really get much advantage if you play first. Besides getting your manual attachment and utilizing abilities like this, you won't be able to use a supporter, so it's not too great. But I mean, depending on what your opponent is using, even if you play second, this can be pretty good. So max this out so we can definitely see it. The best partner for this guy is Great Tusk EX, one of the lamest names of all time for a Pokemon. It isn't even a Pokemon name, it's just a freaking adjective and the word Tusk. I don't know what the hell. But this is Donphan pretty much, the way I see it. Great fighting Pokemon, very big with 250 HP for a basic EX. Bedrock Breaker, good solid, cheap attack, 40 for 1, and always going to discard a Stadium. And then Gigantic Tusks, 250 for 3. Very, very high damage. The self damage is gonna hurt, but it's strong. It's gonna one-hit KO a lot of things in one shot, and then pretty much puts everything else in the danger zone, like V-Stars, other EXs, Stage 1 EXs, maybe VMAXs if anybody plays them. It's just very, very high damage for sure. You can definitely use a few add-ons like maybe Choice Belt to get 1-hit KOs on V-Stars if you want, but I don't have them in this deck, and I'll explain why. Pretty much I'm just trying to maximize consistency, but we have a bunch of these. I've got 3 of the regular ones. I acquired this one too. I guess might as well make the changes now, why not? And take out one of the regular ones, yeah. I acquired one yesterday, randomly, in a pack. But anyway, so 3 of this guy, he's a very good fighting Pokemon. A lot of the times, because we aim to try and get a bunch of energies with Koraidon and end our turn like that, you know, even if you do open with him, play second, it's probably not a good idea to just go for Bedrock Breaker, but this attack can come up. It's good to set up 2-hit KOs without you getting more self-damage, like doing 250 and then doing 250 again when you just need 40 to finish off a Pokemon. So that's the point. It does have its use, even when you can use Gigantic Tusks. Alright, the other fighting Pokemon, the Tex, you could say, is this Arcanine V. I think this is a great card to run in this deck, and might even be a good idea to put in 2 so that you make sure you can see it all the time. And if one gets prized, you can use another one. But this card is great because as a V, we can put the Forest Seal on it, which I have in the deck. So you get your free computer search. At the very least, Vs have some value just for that play. And then its ability, Irresistible Force, it's excellent as well. It just works very good in this deck. We use a big fighting Pokemon like Koraidon or Great Tusk to attack. And then if you believe you're going to be dying next turn when your opponent attacks, or Koraidon can't even attack with this effect, you use a switching outlet, you switch into Arcanine, you move the fighting energies with his ability to this guy, and then you can still attack. At 230 HP is still a respectable fighting, you know, rule box Pokemon. That's just a basic. And, you know, you do need 4 energies to make an attack that's going to be weaker than your other guys. But it still gets the job done. I mean, at the end of the day, just dishing out high damage, 2 hit KOs, puts in the work. Has a different weakness than these guys too. I forgot to mention, these guys have a very strange weakness. This guy weak to Psychic, and even Donphan being weak to Psychic. I don't really get it. I would think this guy would be weak to water. Koraidon, I forgot what its typing is in the game. Anyway. But yeah, it gives you a different weakness, the grass weakness. And then we got another fighting Pokemon. I got this Terrakion. I wanted to include a regular Pokemon just in case we go up against some walls. You can just power up a Pokemon like this and attack them. You can do, I mean, there's a lot of options, all sorts of powerful, regular fighting, basic Pokemon you can use. But I said to myself, you know what? Terrakion, the Cavern Tackle, if you do it, you become invincible as well. Maybe your opponent won't be able to do much against it. You get a free turn as well. Depending on my cards, I can switch. I can put the energies on Arcanine and then it can attack. So I thought, just use this as opposed to something else. But you can use other fighting Pokemon. I don't remember all of them on top of my head, but we definitely have a lot of options. There's a basic Koraidon. I think that's kind of okay. There's other Pokemon like Regirock. What else? I don't know what has rotated out and what hasn't. I think maybe Zygarde would be still around. Maybe. I don't know. There's a bunch of basic fighting Pokemon, you know, that are just regular Pokemon. And then the rest of the cards are 3 water Pokemon, just for support. Radiant Greninja, I mean, it's pretty much... It doesn't need an explanation. You must have it. It just gives you that energy acceleration, discard outlet, getting those fighting energies in the discard pile for Koraidon. You have to have it, in my opinion. Then I got the Luminion V, support, V, Forest Seal, get me supporter. Once again, very good utility card. And then just a Manaphy for bench protection, if it's even relevant at this point. You can take it out for something else if you want, an additional basic fighting Pokemon. Maybe you can put in Arcanine V, but I just want to have it. And I use Iridan in this deck as well, so have an additional target just to have. But the bench protection, of course, you know, when it comes up, it's very important. Alright. Now, for the trainers, I mean, the Pokemon is just very standard stuff. Basic Pokemon, this is going to be a very fast deck, simple deck. Just 12 of them. The trainers, we run a bunch of cards that we didn't have in the Gardevoir deck, I'd say. So, max out the Ultra Balls, max out the Trekking Shoes, and max out the Gutsy Pickaxe. So, the first 2 cards, Ultra Ball and Trekking Shoes, is consistency, heavy duty discard outlets. Very necessary if you go first. You want to see something like Ultra Ball and a bunch of fighting energy so you can get that Koraidon. Once again, get those 2 free energies for free and get a big leap in terms of energies on your opponent compared to your opponent for your field. This is obviously a draw card, consistency card. Just makes your deck a very fast-paced, easy to use deck, consistent, powerful. And then the Gutsy Pickaxe, same idea. It's pretty much draw 1 card in any deck, but in this deck, if we reveal a fighting energy, then it pretty much becomes like a fighting patch, free energy acceleration. And this deck seriously appreciates that. You know, the more energies we can get, the better, because you know, with Koraidon, you might use it once, maybe twice, depending on how slow your opponent is running, and just try and power up a bunch of your Pokemon. But if you can attack immediately, start getting those big KOs, you want to take advantage of that. And then you're just relying on manual attachments. So this is where the pickaxe, any free attachments are greatly appreciated. Alright. Besides that, I mean, I've got the 3 nest balls as well. Just get those basic Pokemon down. And, I mean, got the double switch cards. Since this is an all basic deck, we don't need switch. We can just use this and get a little bit of healing too. And then the only other item, I guess, slash tool, is the Forest Seal Stone. Free computer search. I think it's pretty good. So I have it. I mean, if you have this, what you can do is you can always just grab a damn... Like, if you have this in a ball, you can just grab a V, put this on, and then get a supporter that way. You can just do all sorts of things. Just greatly boost consistency. so you must have it if you can run a bunch of these. Stadium of choice is going to be this Lake Acuity from DP. Now, I guess maybe you can put some different stadiums that I can't really think of right now, but I think this just makes the most sense to me. It's going to give our Pokemon 20 less since they're always going to have fighting energies on. So it can be pretty good. Counter Stadium, why not? Obviously, Path to the Peak, it's not going to be that great. I guess you could maybe risk it, but I mean, it affects Greninja too. Once you're not going to be using this guy, you don't care too much about abilities. I guess Arcanine is something as well that's going to be affected, but build your deck a little bit differently. You can implement Path to the Peak if you really want to, but I think it's just better to use this over here. Anyway, got a bunch of supporters here. Got our triple Professor Research, Discard Outlet, Heavy Duty Draw. That's good. Got the Copycat, one-off, Irida, one-off, Cynthia's Ambition, one-off, and the Corina's Focus as well. Since I use a lot of Ultra Balls and thin my hand, this can be pretty good. Same with Cynthia's Ambition. If your opponent got a KO, you get the maximum draw. This is like my Skyla. Get an item, get a water Pokemon too. Really good to get Greninja, Luminion. Once again. What else? Copycat. I think this is a great tech these days. It has been for a while with the lack of supporters. And I mean, what else? Boss's Orders to win the game. And then I guess Shauna. I'm maxing this out. I'd rather favor this than something like Judge. I've said this before. If you want to run something else, it's up to you. But I think this is the best shuffle and draw supporter we got right now. We don't really got many. That's consistent in the sense that it's always 5 at least. So until we get like the new N bitch from Paldea, whatever, that was in Clayburst, I think Shauna is going to be pretty decent. And I mean, this is the deck. All that's left is energies. Now, if you watch my previous match, I had a bunch of energy searches too, but I took those out for just straight up fighting energies. It just makes the gutsy pickaxe. It gives it a better chance for you to grab a fighting energy with that effect. So yeah, what else can I say? I mean, I made some changes. I think the deck is much better this way. Just more discard outlets, have a better chance of exploiting this guy's ability turn 1 if you get to play first. And then have enough fighting energies, I mean, for pickaxe, for your manual attachments, even if you discard a few. Very consistent deck, very fast deck. Very predictable deck too. It's not going to have a lot of tricks, I mean, besides Arcanine. But you're trying to overwhelm your opponent. Utilize this guy's big attacks, or big attack, and just really take advantage of the free energies you can get with this guy's effect. So I think this is a very good deck. I mean, these cards are strong. Koraidon. I think Miraidon sees more play because it's easier to use, but I think this guy is very strong as well. Psychic weakness can be a problem against psychic decks and Gardevoir, I suppose, but against everything else, I think you have a pretty good matchup. I mean, big Pokemon, simple to use. It's a nice deck. I mean, I had to craft some of the cards, so I'm pretty serious about it. I mean, I'm not just showing this for the sake of showing it. I think this is a very consistent, simple to use deck that can get you a lot of wins, good wins. Alright, and this is the deck profile. I'm going to show you guys more matches with it, of course. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys then. Sabro Final 4, was I?